Hey everybody, welcome to the Drew and John Show with Drew Sample and John Dowie. I just wanted to record this intro segment because at some point in time we have a little bit of an audio sync issue between Skype and my software, and I'll be commenting on some things about crows and stuff like that, and Drew will be adding in some commentary while I'm talking, or just before I'm talking, but it sounds like he's saying it after I'm talking, so it kind of sucks. I don't have a separate audio file to sync it up. We're going to work on the technical issues as we go. This is only episode 3. We're kind of learning as we go on how to do this type of stuff. So in the future, I think we're going to use StreamYard instead of Skype because I've had some better experiences with StreamYard, but I'm going to have to pay for it. We'll see. But anyway, that's what's going on in the show. I still think there's some good content in there, and we talk a lot about mold today. We talk about crows on the farm. We talk about winter projects, falling behind, being in sync, putting forth the effort, a little bit about marketing, just a ton of stuff. We talk, we address your viewer comments from the last show. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting us. Hit that like button, and yeah. And if you have suggestions, we're looking for a name for the show because we don't like Drew and John Show that much. It's okay, but we're definitely looking for a name for the show. So if you have an idea, don't be afraid to throw it into the comments. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your day.
Welcome back to episode 3 of the Drew and John Show.
Yeah, man.
We're still trying to figure out a new name for the show. Neither of us are too pleased about it, but
yeah.
Hey, it works.
Yeah, we need to do something. I don't know what.
So we took a couple weeks off.
That was my fault.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I mean, I wasn't really pushing. I just wanted to make sure we weren't canceling the show, but as small-scale farmers, you know, there's a lot of bullshit you got to deal with sometimes, and that was one of those times. So you know, we're working on. I think we have format for the show. So yeah, so let's go ahead and start getting into it. I thought the last show went really well. So we decided, you know, we're going to try to keep it more formatted. So John Dowie kindly took the time to put together an outline.
5 minutes.
It took you 5 minutes. I would not have been able to get that done in 5 minutes. I would like overthink it constantly.
Well, if you count hours of thinking about it while I was driving around delivering, then not 5 minutes. But just
that's true. I miss driving around all the time to think.
Yeah.
Like
today it got. I had to just before we start our format. I bought a car yesterday, and I hate buying cars. I hate everything about it. I hate loans. I hate payments. I hate the fact that you can research the shit out of a giant purchase and still make a mistake. Like, I hate it. So, but I had to hammer this nail. I had to get this done with. So, but I bought a car that was 2 hours away. So it's 4 hours round trip, and it's in Massachusetts. So I had to go freaking twice to Massachusetts and back to do this deal. Because the first time I went down, I test drove it and whatever. And then I had to go back down and sign, because it was late on a Friday. I had to go back down and sign loan documents. And then they're going to have to drive the car up to me. But anyway, extra 8 hours of driving last week, or the last handful of days, just because of that. Added on.
2 hours back.
Yeah. So, yeah, 4 out twice round trip would be 8 hours. So, like, and then add that to the 16 hours of delivery driving last week, and then just your regular everyday back and forth to the grow room or whatever. And I just, like, today, I had deliveries today. And I just, like, was in the car doing the, like, you know, when you're, like, lean on the side of the door while you're driving and you're just done? You're just defeated.
You start to get these weird arm pains.
Yeah.
You know, why's my arm hurt?
Yeah. I was, like, driving around defeated today. And I just, like, I was out of podcasts to listen to. It was the worst. So, Spirit goes on vacation. Asshole.
Oh, yeah?
Asshole. Leaving me with no podcasts to listen to. I ended up listening to Rogan.
I posted a new episode today. You could listen to me and Nick Hazelton.
If I had known, I don't.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It updates weird. I got to get a new podcast app because I'm not happy with the one I'm using. So
newpodcastapps.org.
Yeah, I used that. Actually, I downloaded one of those the other day and I started using it. I'll tell you what it is now. It's Podburst. It's okay.
Podburst?
Yeah.
Yeah, Podburst. That's what I think that's what I'm using on my iPhone. So so just a quick couple weeks, you know, I was using that Graphene OS phone, and it did this update. I have it set to auto update because it usually works great. Yeah, I use Podburst as well. And all of a sudden, I woke up and my cell phone wouldn't work. It was Thursday morning,
Oh,
and I had to go to the farm and harvest radish, and I was just so behind because I spent 2 hours fucking with my phone trying to get it to work, and then finally I just decided to reactivate my old iPhone. So that's what I get for trying to be some cool I'm off the grid person.
what?
Like there's no support. Like I have to figure it out, and it's
I don't even know what
who knows.
this. I don't even know what this phone is.
So Graphene OS is a way to de-Google your phone, so it still runs the Android, and then you get on like the Aurora. It sounds really cool, but then nothing really works the way it's supposed to. So I
Yeah.
still have to use my iPhone for QuickBooks because I've been using it for so long,
Yeah.
and now I'm back to my iPhone 7, and I mean honestly, it's nice just carrying around one device. The battery sucks, and then I've replaced it about 3 times. Um, so I don't know. So that sucked.
Yeah.
But besides that, I was having some issues with young Timothy, and I'm not sure. I think he was just getting overwhelmed with stuff. I'm not sure, but he was doing some like teenager shit with me. Like he would tell me he had stuff planted, and then I would just have a feeling that it wasn't. And I'd get there, and he'd be like, "I don't know why I told you it was planted," and so thankfully, Swain bailed me out, so I had to buy microgreens from him. And then on top of that, so he got stuff planted, and then like I lost like 90% of my mustard, and then I lost like a bunch of that, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I finally, Brock has been telling me like I need to just go spend more time there, and ultimately too, it's like Swain, he's always there. I talked to him. He's like, I'm maybe not here 2 days a month, and he lives down the street. And I was like, Dowie's always there. I mean, why would I? So I think I just got lazy, man, and I thought it would be cool to just have Tim do that. And we gave him a project, but I don't necessarily think I set him up with the right structure. I didn't. I kind of really set him up for failure and myself up for failure. So I've been spending quite a bit more time on the farm, and it's been really nice. So I discovered that. I mean, am I talking too much right now, man?
Nope.
I mean, I'm okay. So we'll get into some more of these topics. So I discovered. Well, the good news is my distributor is really picking up with sales. So I'm still waiting on the first check, but he told me they just wrote it, which is cool. I've not. I think I might have lost some smaller customers, but at the same time, he is just buying way more. So I'd rather have it. So and he just comes to my cooler, grabs 6 pounds out of it, 5 pounds out of it, and I just email him an invoice. It's the easiest sale I've had so far. And we can get more into those details. And then, but so anyway, so I noticed that I was having some mold issues, which makes sense when you grow microgreens in a basement for 5 years and you don't really do much to any preventative work to really kind of get rid of or prevent mold. And you just are like, well, it's been fine for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we just scrub down the walls, and we're gonna scrub the floors and the ceiling, and then we're gonna repaint everything with Kills primer, and then I got some fans in there for airflow, and but we can get into that too. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with. So hopefully I didn't just blow my load with the show and just ruin the segments that I just wrote out, and I was just trying to say a recap for what my couple of weeks has been.
Yeah, I know it's been a while, so it's tough. But I'm trying to find a product that I know about. So we'll get into it when we get into the mold, I guess. But
Yeah.
I have this.
But-
yeah, sorry, I just got distracted.
And so we thought it was not washing
there we go.
flats.
Yeah.
That was all the mustard. But again, as you always say, it's probably something else.
Yes,
so
that's what we're going to get into for the most part, I think. Is it like so the last time I talked to you, you were like, I didn't wash trays and everything died. And I was just like, in my head, I was going, there's 20 things it could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's always that way. And so just to kind of put some perspective on it, I just had a mold bout myself, right? A rot bout, whatever.
Yeah, it's rot, so you think it's a mold. you.
And it's been an ongoing problem for me here in this room for 6 years now. And this time around, I had a good, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I had a sneaking suspicion that I was at like 80% that it was this one problem.
Yeah.
And this last round just solidified that, like, I am 90, I don't think you can ever be 100%, but I'm 90 something percent sure that I've figured out exactly why I had mold problems in this room. But that's, I think, the big part about it is you never know. Like, it's so hard to nail it down. It could be any number of things. It could be just temperature swings or humidity, or like your seeds could suck. And those are easy to narrow down, because if it's one crop, it might be your seeds. If it's 4 crops, it's not your seeds. You know what I mean? But then there's, like, you go get new soil one day, and maybe that just is. And let's all live in reality here. I don't remember exactly when I buy new soil all the time, right? So, like, I shoot down to the place where I get my soil. I get 12 bags. I use it. Then I start planting more, and I run out, and I need to buy more, and then I'm planting more stuff, and then it's, 10 days later you have mold, and you're going, shit, when did I switch soil, right? And you don't know. Like, it's almost impossible, unless you're literally writing down everything, which I'm terrible at. I don't think you can really track that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I get a pallet at a time, so I'll know which soils, what pallets. So I have like 2 different pallets in there. So
I'm actually this week finally getting pallets of soil. I'm getting 3.
I still need to pay for my last pallet, man.
Cool.
It's thankfully, it's just been like, I think I've been living in this negative mantra of, if it's not one thing, it's the next thing, and it's just like, I got to get out of that. Like, I'm casting evil spells on myself.
And I think, honestly, like, so being more hands-on, I get into that sometimes, and I just think being more hands-on and more on your game, I think, remedies that a lot of times, at least for me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, like, I would say just being involved made me see, like, it's like I handed the keys to the car way before Tim was ready, and he thought he was ready. And a lot of time, I mean, when he was managing the greenhouse, like, I think he was ready to manage the greenhouse, but then, like, nothing else is really getting managed on the farm. Like, all my beds are overgrown. We didn't get any work done in the grow room, which that was actually a plan for the spring. But we kept growing cilantro in there, and that was the only thing. And then pea as well. And then once we moved everything else in there, and we had it, like, running at, all the lights were on, then it was like, okay, now we're starting to have more problems. We're having some heat issues. We're having humidity issues. And so I bought this little dehumidifier. And so I was spending more time there, and I see Tim filling up the water thing. And I'm like, did I buy a humidifier on accident?
Oh, no.
And so then I looked, and I just never took the time to really explain to him what this was supposed to do. Like, I mean, I don't think he's ever had to deal with it. And so he kind of laughed at himself. And then I was like, I have a bigger dehumidifier at my other house, which is, like, right here, which is, the same neighborhood. And I have to dump that thing out like twice a day now.
Yep.
I need to get, like, one of the hoses, and this little thing it's not really picking up. So I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace to get a better dehumidifier. I got fans, like oscillating fans, just to keep better airflow, because there's just a lot of poor design into that grow room.
Yeah.
Because I was so hands off before, that just, it was never finished, and it was just so I'm not. So yeah, so I'm okay with it. I think it's I think I need to get back on my hustle with the business before I look to just kind of pull myself back. And I think I was pulling myself back too early and focusing on other things. And I think I have the opposite problem of most entrepreneurs. Like, I have the opposite problems of the E-Myth.
What's that?
So
you mean because you wander off?
Yeah, so the E-Myth, like, you need to become the entrepreneur, or you need to figure out where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think I'm the entrepreneur, but it's like, well, I'm a shitty manager.
Well, when I first started working, it's hard to transition from job where literally you don't realize till you leave the job and run your own thing and have to implement every single one of your own systems. You don't realize how much work has actually been done for you at your job, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has figured out all this stupid little shit like, hey, the mail goes here, right? Or whatever. The incoming mail goes here. Someone actually had to like figure that out. Whereas like when you run your own thing, like one day you got to figure that shit out for yourself. Like you got to go, oh my God, like why are there 14 stacks of mail around my office? You know, like I know that's a shitty example, but like it's all the way down to like the minutia of stuff that you have to do for yourself and figure out for yourself, and it can get nuts and get away from you. And then the other challenge I faced in the very beginning was just basic time management, like because you can literally just go, I'm going to take most of today off and not do anything, and that shit just snowballs and destroys you.
But it's also like, I need to get these deliveries going. Well, I could sleep in.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, just get it fucking done.
Well, luckily
like,
I have the wife who like is much better at like get up and go. She's much more task oriented than I am, but I just I've gotten so much better though, especially since the baby. I've gotten like, well, years ago I dealt with some personal shit like 2-3 years ago. And the way I got through that was just becoming a workaholic. So like I have no issues now getting the work done because I literally have this like mental disorder almost where as long as I'm awake, I should be working, you know, and it's probably unhealthy, but shit gets done.
Well, I think it's just shifting the pendulum to the proper balance.
Yeah.
I think that's like where, you know, I was too far, you know, I didn't really have to hustle.
Yeah.
Like I was able to get some money. So, and I was living on that government teat, and then the government teat quit putting out milk. And then it's like, oh shit, I gotta get back on my horse and hustle again.
Yeah. I took an opposite approach. You talking about when the we're not going to say the word started.
Yeah. You just went and hustled.
I went fucking crazy because I thought I was going to lose everything. Like, so I like went nuts. And then I just kept that momentum rolling. Like I had that momentum years ago too. In 2012, I had this like thing happen in my life that was big and like it was bad, but it was big and it like focused me and I just was like I went nuts and I was just like super momentum pushing through stuff and then that faded, you know. And I think that it'll probably fade again for me, like the momentum I got from this last situation that we're trying to avoid using the words. I don't need their algorithms to pick it up.
You know what?
So, I'm on this just crazy. And then we had a baby, and that just kept it going. And now that's actually probably the thing now, is that now I have, a son that I want to pass something on to, whereas before I never had a point. I was just like, I don't know, I'm just going to work to pass the time.
I was thinking about what that would do for me, because we were talking about, let's just get into subjects.
Why don't let's follow the thing now. Wait, how far are we? 16, 17 minutes in. Let's actually follow the outline.
That's the intro. 17-minute intro.
Yeah, man, that's So, we just kind of did it. So my first segment, I want to kind of get into like last episode recap, questions and answers. And Drew kind of talked about some of the stuff that he wanted to recap from last episode, I suppose, when we talked about not washing flats and maybe some mold. But we're going to get into that for the meat of our subjects. As far as what today's meat and potatoes part of the show is how we deal with mold and how we break down the process of figuring out what's going on and just what our experiences are with it. So I suppose that's part of a callback to last show. We have some viewer questions and answers that we're going to, questions or comments, I guess, that I have that I'm going to throw up as a slide because look at how high tech we are now.
Dude, I'm really impressed.
Right? Look at me using Adobe Spark that I pay for way too long and never use. So the first comment, let's jump right into the comments, right? This is from Jay. That's really long. I'll read it. Want me to read it? Because since you probably can't see it.
Yeah.
So
I can read it.
Okay, J.A. says, J.A., I didn't use last names. Just to add to the discussion of Blue Magic Farms who stack 6 high, no paper towels or spraying during germination. The only thing we don't stack 6 high are peas. Peas we stack 2 and spray once a day until they go under lights. 10 pounds, 10 pounds of concrete on top, basically, the blocks, or I use 2 red bricks.
I used bricks too.
Yeah,
Tim was putting all these things on. I saw these other people doing it. I'm like, Tim, we don't need to fucking do that.
Yeah. A day without lights once out of germination. I've done that before to get some height. 3/4 ounce of seed on broccoli kohlrabi salad. That sounds about in tune with what we're doing. The yields about 4 ounces, so he's probably growing a shorter green, I would assume.
Yeah, like me.
Like you are, right? Is that what you're doing?
But I get like I don't grow kohlrabi, but when I'm doing the broccoli, it's anywhere from 4 to 6.5 ounces.
Yeah,
and that's most.
I do cool. That's my so I do broccoli kohlrabi purple cabbage for my base, and I do 0.7 broccoli, 0.7 purple cab, and 0.5 kohlrabi as far as ounces go of seed, and I yield about 5.5 to 7 ounces per tray. But I go big, so on purpose, because that's
I do about 0.5 too.
Yeah.
So or 14 grams.
Right, about the same. What are these grams? So daikon radish. Go back to Canada. Daikon radish, he uses 1 ounce of seed, and that yields 6 ounces. So that makes sense, I think, because he's probably cutting a little short, and I use almost an ounce, 1.7, and I yield about 12. So, but I go a little big.
Yeah, I don't grow daikon. Daikon is a bigger seed.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a mix of the purple radish. Turned out great. I didn't have any issues.
Yeah,
that
nice.
Purple radish seed we talked about.
How purple is it?
And then it's purple, man. I'll send you some photos.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Actually, I might be able to pull them up and post them so you can. Oh. Yeah, let's see if we can do this.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep reading while you try.
Yeah, keep reading.
So he tried not washing trays and had major issues, which I don't. I still don't have problems. I think I don't know if I mentioned too that one thing I don't do is I never stack. Like, so I cut a tray, I empty the soil immediately, and then I stack them on, like, let me go back to myself here so you can see what I'm gonna do. I stack them like this, okay? So they're always aerated until they're totally dry. So I never stack, like, I don't like cut the broccoli and then throw that on top of another broccoli tray that's been cut, right? I did that in the beginning, and you get shit all over the bottom of your trays, right? So what I do is I cut, and then we dump it into a soil bag, knock it out, and then we kind of stack them so they're staggered, so they dry out. So I think that, I mean, I don't know if that's a no-brainer, but
no. So traditionally, yeah. So because it's in the basement, so we would stack the trays, and then we carry them up. We dump them in a compost thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is creating more work for.
Yep. I just reuse the soil bags.
So it's okay. So you just use. So when you say like a soil bag, like just something you would.
Well, we buy 2 cubic foot bags of soil and 4 cubic foot bags of perlite.
Oh, those.
And then we just keep the bags. And
my bag's a lot smaller than that. I couldn't do that. So that wouldn't work. But
we used to use those black totes with the yellow lids. We used to do that, but I can't drop those off the side of the balcony into my truck.
No, you cannot. Yeah, I forgot you're up.
I could.
And carrying those like filled with soil up the stairs and outside, it's a bitch. Yeah. So it's easier to just do the trays.
Yeah.
So that would make it a lot easier when it came to cleaning.
Yeah.
But we just tried
don't do the
spraying. Yeah, and we just tried spraying the trays off, just like we would the under trays. So I think it's going to work fine.
The one thing I have been doing is, because I'm doing this new cilantro method where I put a tray on top with the bricks. It's a solid tray that I only use for that. I am kind of washing those. I hit them with just a bleach towel, and then I spray them off with the sprayer because I have the 3-bay sink with the sprayer nozzle. So, like the commercial sink. I do that because I don't want to take a little bit of mold from one cilantro tray and just move it to another. I feel like that's just too blatant. But to me, I look at it like here's a tray, there's dirt inside of it. I've grown something, the bottom water is coming up into it and dropping back down into a reservoir, right? Cleaning it to me makes no sense. I'm just going to dry it out. I'm going to throw new soil in there, and it's going to do the same thing. And I just kind of stopped washing because of that, and it's worked for me. So I
think it's going to work for me.
Yeah, I just think that it doesn't make sense to me. Like there's something else, but maybe other people have other issues. Who knows? Like, and this gentleman can only know his own conditions. We can't really speak to it. That's the other hard part about addressing microgreen problems is everybody's room is going to be so much different. But anyway, so he had issues. Yellow onion he gets into. Lights are 8 inches from the plants, so he's got his lights close like you. Mine are 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Water once a day, fans on low. I don't necessarily water every day. And I just have fans like that just move the air in the room. I just walk around my room and look for like I feel a gentle breeze everywhere I go, and that's good. And that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's what I didn't have any oscillating fans.
I don't put fans directly on crops because it destroys them, in my opinion.
No, you have to water them more.
Yeah, so this guy does 16 hours bottom water. He makes his own planting trays. Whew, that sounds like a lot of work to me, but good for you. Cocoa coir for a medium. That's fine, I guess. I had bad experience with cocoa.
It's cocoa. Yeah, I use organic.
But whatever works.
Soil.
Whatever works. It sounds like it's working for him. He's got a farm name.
Yeah, you got your going.
Yeah, so good for you, man. Thanks for the comment. He wants to know about barn to door. I had a small experience over the shutdown time. This barn to door rep called me and wanted to get me on board, and I did a little research into it. And to me, it's kind of just like web hosting with some bells and whistles. Do you know anything about barn to door?
Nope. There's a farmer's market thing, and I looked into it, and you could sign up for it, and then they want 10%, and you have to do all your fees, and I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, I looked at so like the barn to door thing, to me, it's like 3 times the cost of what you would just pay to have a website built. And then they have some stuff. Don't get me wrong. They have like a nice marketplace, it seems like, and they seem like they maybe put a little bit of legwork into getting the word out for you, which is maybe is cool. But I don't know. I don't have experience with it personally. I just evaluated it and said, no, I'm good. And a lot of the reasons I evaluated and moved on is because I already have success. So why would I go ahead and do that too? You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm definitely getting my consumer website dialed in, and I'll get it more into that later.
Yeah, that's probably a whole show.
Well, I mean,
I'm in the same spot. I have a shitty Wix website, and I had my friend Nicole make me a website, and it's been like 8 months since she's been done, and I got to do my part, and I just don't have time. Yeah. You
might have to make time. We'll talk about this later on. That's something I should have put in the notes.
We'll do next show, maybe. Who knows?
Next show, yeah.
Plenty of material there. All right, so the next comment, I got one more. From Ryan Willett, and he's been on my channel for a long time, and I know the name. I'm not sure if I met him. I know someone else with the same last name through the good old Perma Ethos. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That was a smash success.
So that's great. I went there once. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was. I think it's just it was cool for a while, and a lot of people made a lot of lifelong friends, new lifelong friends. I think
I definitely met some really great people through that. So anyway, Ryan says it's interesting the different methods we all use for growing. I stacked 3 to 4 high max, no towels, no spraying, and use 2 standard bricks for weight. They have a saying in beekeeping: if you ask 10 beekeepers a question, you'll get 100 different answers, and 99 of them aren't wrong. And he's so right about that. I can't speak to that enough, because like that's why there's 2 of us and talking, and you and I generally.
That was the idea of this show. Yeah,
we have
because we're similar, but we're very different.
Yeah, we man, my ear itches. Can you still hear me? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I touched a button when I did that, and I didn't want to screw the whole thing up. So anyway, that's our comments. Thanks for the comments. That's how I think we're going to try to do it from now on. I whipped that up in 5 minutes.
That was cool.
Adobe Spark, man.
What was calling when marketing fail? Did you cover that?
No, I haven't gotten there yet. So do you want to? I mean, we just talked about not washing flats, but you kind of talked about how that wasn't an issue with the flats, but we're going to get into that in the meat. So I went marketing a lot, and we're going to do marketing updates, but we can just combine this all into one right now if you want.
Sure.
I went marketing in that time period that we haven't done since we've done our show. I got that one big account, and then I used that. I went on Yelp and I plugged their address in, and then I sorted by distance from that location and just went in a big old circle around their restaurant and went marketing. And I walked into this one place in Boston. I can't remember what it's called. And it was a little pretentious, but whatever.
They love ours.
Yeah, I know. They drive me crazy. But anyway, so it's all places I would never eat at. So, and the chef was really cool, and he was very interested in the product, he seemed, and he was like, yeah, we use this, and we use basil, and we use cilantro, and we use this radish, and we use all this stuff. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I know, I saw it on Yelp. But he was super into it, and then he said they were starting to get busy. I think they had a function coming up, so it was kind of a weird busy for a weird time, right? And because I was there at the right time, but it just didn't work out. So he goes, "Why don't you come back on Tuesday?" He's like, "But call first." And I'm like, I walked out and I was like, he's fucking blowing me off. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
So Tuesday rolls around, and what I always do is I just prepare more samples, even though I already brought more, because I just like to inundate it with samples. So I had like more samples to stuff that I hadn't already brought him. I got about 30 minutes away from the restaurant. I called, and the hostess answers the phone, I think. And she's like, "Okay, hang on 1 second." And she comes back and she's like, "Oh, he's in a meeting. He says today's a bad day." And I'm just like, I thanked her and hung up. But I'm just like, fuck you, man. You're blowing me off. Like, that's my thing is like that's the only time I've ever made a phone call because I know we talked about this in a previous show about people tell you to call the restaurant and try to set up an appointment. And we both kind of agreed that a phone call is the best way to get blown off,
Yeah.
And
you know what I say is I don't, people ask me for a card and I say, no, I don't do business cards. Business cards are for free lunches at Chipotle.
Ooh.
If you want to do business with me, then I can text you right now.
I like that.
And then
that's
text each other.
That's great because I can never figure out how I want to work in the give me your phone number so I can text you because I feel like it's stalkery.
No, I mean, that's the best way. I say, look, I know you guys are busy. You don't have time to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Like I read Anthony Bourdain's book, and they're, I love Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah. Ooh.
They like him a lot more than Gordon Ramsay.
They love him. Anthony Bourdain is like, he's like when Jim Morrison died in the 70s or something, or whatever that was, like to those people, right? They're like, oh, he's the,
Chantix off the fucking market now, by the way. Not to dive, this is a farm
Wait,
show.
what'd you say?
I said I think they're pulling Chantix off the market. That was it's a quit smoking drug.
Oh, yeah, they are because someone had a seizure.
Is because you have suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. And I was talking to a guy the other day, actually, that said the only way that he was able to quit was Chantix, and then he lit a cigarette. But anyway, so clearly it didn't really work for him anyway, even though he says it did.
Perfect.
So that is all I have to say is phone calls are bullshit.
Yeah, I think texting is the way to go. Ask, hey, I reward referrals. So, like, I like to have some good forest-raised pork in my freezer. So I'll give them some pork or some beef. You get honey. You get shit from other farmers. So.
Yep. Can you hear me?
I don't know if it's. Yeah. I can hear. Okay. I don't know if it's legal or not, but I don't really give a shit.
Who cares?
Fuck yeah.
Just do it.
So I think
you have to make it legal.
Yeah. I think that's just a way to go, and like people want to get cred. I have I think that tends to work best. Now I'm in the opposite position. I really need to focus on getting my production back before I do more marketing, and also I need to really nurture. Sorry, this diet soda is making me burp.
Oh, I just had the same problem.
Yeah. So my big distributor customer, I need to make sure that I can maintain them. It's just such a good situation. The guy I work with is so cool. I should be getting a check soon.
Nice.
I just tell him what I have in the cooler. He tells me what he wants. I stack it up, and he just goes to the trailer and pulls it out. And
how many?
That's it.
You doing? What are you doing? 8-ounce packs or something? 8-4.
Yeah, 8-ounce containers. So it's $15.
How many a week are you moving? Roughly.
I could move a lot more.
Yeah. No, I mean it's just to that one distributor. That's
he took 20 in a week.
Awesome.
A couple weeks ago. He took 12 last week. The biggest thing is it's hard to help. I don't think he knows I'm not quite ready to run because he knows I've been having issues.
Yeah.
So
that's great though.
I don't know.
That's a nice $300-400 payday, right?
Yeah. Well,
I can't do math.
It's it's about $150 a pop, a little bit more, sometimes 180. But I still haven't gotten a check yet. Like, so I'm still
Is it just once a week, or is it
so far? But I think it's also like it's getting colder. The season's changing. we'll see what happens, but I'm pretty sure he'll pick up more customers. So the other thing too is I've had a couple chefs. One chef I know, they were a great customer. He just got burned out because he couldn't hire anybody, and the owners kept running special dinners and stuff like that because they have plenty of business. They just don't have the staff. And he's just like, "Mate, bro, I'm not in my 20s. I'm not here to work 7 days a week, 60 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like, I just got married." So he just quit, and then the other sous chef quit, and then the one sous chef that was left was like, "Yeah, Monday might be my last day too."
Oh,
so I don't. It is kind of a relief because it was like, well, I don't have anything ready, but it's just I have plenty of customers that I just haven't reached out to. I did reach out to a bunch to say about, hey, I'm trying to address some mold issues, so things are behind because I put them back in the greenhouse, and man, I forgot how beautiful stuff looks during cold weather. It just takes a lot longer.
Yeah, I figured, well, you put something like that in the greenhouse. I've always wondered this because I'll like get mold on something here. And I just wish I had even just a shelf out on my like porch thing here, but I can't do anything. They won't let me. And I'm like, I bet you if I stuck that fucking thing outside, this thing would recover because the UV rays are going to kill the mold, right?
Yeah. So what happened, I guess we can...
yeah, let's move into the mold.
So
let's do it.
Yeah, so what happened is I thought, I was having issues, and I thought that maybe he was lying to me. And that's like the problem with like stupid lies is it's like, well, it affects our communication of what feedback, because it's, it's him and I communicating about he's living there, so what he's seeing. And it looked like, so things would look great like the first couple days, and it's like it looked like, when you forget to water and it falls over and then you try to bring it back and it just doesn't look the same. And a lot of stuff was kind of looking like that. And I'm like, dude, are you sure? He goes, no, look at this. See, there's some weird funky, I don't know if it's mold or what, but there's something funky on the tray, and it's like some die-off, which usually you only see with cilantro. And I was just like, oh, man. So then I start pulling out shelves, and I was like, we haven't fucking cleaned this room in forever. Then I noticed the dehumidifier thing, and it was just like I knew airflow was a problem. The heat was an issue. And so we just pulled everything out. I was just like, I went and bought some fans off some random person, and we moved everything into the greenhouse. So the radish was looking really shitty, and I was like, dude, I cannot afford to not have radish. And then we moved it out there, and it was cloudy all weekend, so it was looking better. And then today, it was like raining all weekend. We didn't even have to water it.
Yeah.
And then today, the sun came out for, I don't know, like 2 hours, and man, those little shoots just grew way up. And I was like, oh, this is great. So this stuff looks ready, and it's super purple because I guess traditionally purple colors come out more in vegetables in cooler weather anyway.
Definitely. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot with my radish. And yeah, mostly in the radish is I get like I get nice dark colors when I have colder temps in the room. Of course, then all my fucking basil dies. But whatever.
So I put the basil outside too, the living trays that we had, and they look great.
Nice.
I mean, so it's maybe, I don't know, it's maybe like 60 to 70 degrees. I mean, the greenhouse I got off Amazon for really cheap, and it has like the green cover because I think it was designed for like pot growers.
Mm-hmm.
And most people I know that bought that greenhouse, like a bunch of people bought it at the time, and like I think Bent McKibben, his lasted like 2 weeks. Michael Jordan said it lasted him a week because the wind in Wyoming just destroyed it. And I was like, man, I'm going on 5 years.
Nice.
So I've gotten plenty of, but like none of the zippers work.
Yeah.
You can't really, there's windows on the side, and we always have them roll up because it gets so hot in the summertime. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. I'm actually kind of looking forward to the wintertime because it's like, I think because we never did it because before, Rich would freak out and say, it won't grow. It's too cold. We don't get enough sun. But we never actually made a go at it.
Trying to grow outside in the greenhouse, you mean, in the winter?
Yeah. Because it was like, well, let's just focus on indoors. And then unfortunately, the greenhouse would turn into some storage area. Even though we had sheds, we just had so much shit that he put in the shed, and it was just like his shit. And so now that like all this shit's gone, it's like, oh man, like I might keep growing radish outside, or at least some outside.
I mean,
how purple it is.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff, like, there's a lot of crops.
Mustard.
I mean, cilantro likes cool. I mean, it's weird. Like, I think your cabbages, broccolis, all those brassicas are kind of fall crops, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what part of Ohio are you in? I know.
I'm not northern. It still gets cold here.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not like Cleveland or Toledo where it's
fucking awful.
Lake effect.
Yeah.
Wind chill of like, I mean, because the wind gets so much higher there because it's all flat.
Yeah.
So Columbus isn't really. Keep going.
No, you go.
Columbus isn't really hilly, but like I'm in the middle of, so it's kind of in a valley. So it's like, but it's not like a big valley, but like, so it goes down. So to go in Columbus, you kind of descend a little bit. And then while you're leaving, you're kind of going, you're kind of elevating a little bit, and you're starting to go like towards Pennsylvania, and it gets hillier, but it tends to be like we tend to get more sun. I mean, we still don't get a ton of sun, but the thing is that crops, I think the plants know it. So if it's not getting light all the time, especially what I witnessed today, is they tend to, once they do get sun, they tend to they tend to maximize the sun they get.
Yeah.
And then also too, like it's not as much water. I guess the more concern I have is like having a hose outside in the wintertime when it gets too cold, because that could fuck some shit up. So
yeah. Well, I have a system for that if you want to hear it.
Absolutely.
You go to get the cheapest air compressor you can buy. It's like $50, and then you buy some fittings. Yeah. I know what they are. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I think I have a YouTube video I made about this, and at the end, my fucking blood sugar crashed. But anyway, so I have a Y fitting, and I have two valves that I use to shut off the water. So there's two ways to shut the water off going back to the compressor, and then there's another valve on the air. So you turn the compressor on, build up the pressure, right? And then you open up the water, so you have your water turned off, and you open up your hose valves, and then you open up that last valve for your air, and it blows the fucking water out of the hose. And then you just leave that shit outside in the winter. So like, because I have 90 ducks or something, I have to do water every single day, and dragging the hose, 100-foot hose, all the way out to their pool, back and forth every single day in the winter. And that's like, you're talking at least 3 months of freezing here. So it just sucks. So last year I perfected, the year before I started on it, but I never got it done. It was at the end of the year. But last year I used it. It was great. It's also cool because it scares the shit out of the ducks when the fucking water blows out of the hose like 30 feet across the friggin' lawn. But it's funny to watch when they like, oh my God. Yeah, so the air compressor thing, it was like, maybe it was $75 all in, but you don't have to drag the hose back and forth. You know what I mean? You just leave it in the greenhouse, blow the friggin' air out of it, or blow the water out of it with the air, and then turn it off, the air compressor. Well, and you're good.
I have a little pump thing for water. Mm-hmm. And so my thought was, just because it doesn't need as much water anyway, so we could probably use that and still water underneath, and then put the hoses up. I mean, I'm definitely pleased that Tim accidentally planted too much radish, so we threw some outside, and I looked at them and I was like, God, these look gorgeous. Nice. Like they took about 2 to 3 days longer to reach maturity. However, we just adjust our planting schedule. Yeah. I mean, I think it just looks so superior to what it looks like indoors just because of the color. I mean, the color, and it just looks health. I don't know. I think things just look healthier when they get the sun anyway.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't know. I can't grow these outside at all. So
thankfully, like discovering the mold and still having that greenhouse, and I was thinking about tearing the greenhouse down, which I still might do, but I don't know. I think just me spending more time on the farm is, the more time I'm there. I mean, JM Fortier told me, before I got started, one thing he said that I really took with it was like an old Asian proverb, which is like, the best compost for your garden is the farmer's boot. You know what I mean? The best compost is the farmer's boot.
Mm.
So I think it's like, me spending time there has really helped me just think different things. I think, we needed to kind of press reset in a lot of things, and I needed to get some systems in place, and then just also ultimately too figure out what I want things to look like, and I have to be the one that's doing all the design work.
Yeah.
And I think that was where things went awry with Rich, was I let him do the design, and then I didn't necessarily like it, and it was one of those things that he insisted on it, and it was easy. It was the path of least resistance, and I think a lot of times we fall into that situation. I was just talking to my buddy Brett Venat about this, and so and it was easy for when I hand the farm over to a 22-year-old, and he was doing a great job, he just wasn't really consistent. I mean, he figured out a lot of stuff, but I wasn't there to do the hand holding, and I wasn't there to let him know what my expectations were and how I wanted the farm to be and how I wanted it to look. And I was kind of like, well, they're a young family, I want to give them some privacy, but it's like, dude, this is your fucking business. Like, fuck their privacy if shit's not getting done.
Yeah.
And I just need to be more in that. Let's be more in that mind space. So yeah, so I kind of covered what I was doing for the mold situation, and honestly, we looked at the walls. It looked like maybe there was some mold on it. Could have just been dirty, but I cleaned the walls with a bleach solution, and everything just cleaned.
Yep.
So it wasn't like it was something that I really had to scrub.
So you didn't.
So I was like, okay.
You didn't find mold though.
I didn't really find mold. No, I found stuff on the walls that looked like it could be mold,
Okay.
but then it's like, well, when you have dirt in a farm, and that room was a planting room as well for a very long time, and it wasn't really cleaned often by, Rich didn't really clean it. I definitely wasn't cleaning it.
Yep.
So we went through, we cleaned it. I mean, it wasn't filthy or anything, but just deep cleaning. Like, you got to do deep cleaning, like move the shelves around and scrub down the walls. I mean, just like anything. So it could be airflow. I didn't really find mold, but just as a preventative measure, we're going to, I got some Kills primer, and we're just going to repaint the room with that primer, and get the fans, and then get a better dehumidifier. And I think it's going to solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, cool. So I cannot find this product. I had a mold paint that I used in my grow room on the walls when I had my mold problem. I've been in the middle of a lot of stuff. I've been in the middle of winter prep on the farm, and I'll get into my mold story in a second. But my challenge has been, so since our last show, I've been on this crazy sprint. I said to my wife, I go, I'm going to take the next 21 days, and all I'm going to do is work. And I'm just going to try to clear all this shit that's backlogged on the farm. And there's just so much stuff. And then the worst part is, as you go through the to-do list, stuff gets added because you figure out oh shit, that's got to happen too, right? And it's not like it's little projects, So I basically have been dealing with get ready for winter on my farm. Is I got to get soil, I got to get perlite, I got to put it somewhere. So I put up one of those domes, those garage thing, 8x8 shelter logic things, and I just got an 8x8
Yeah,
for
it's a
soil.
carport,
And
right?
I've got another 10x17 on the way that's going to go up back, and it's going to go in the friggin' front of my quail dome, and that's going to hold a tractor with a snowblower for the back and feed and all kinds of shit. It's a mess. But I also have had this issue all year. I didn't realize till the other day how bad it probably has been, which kind of sucks because it's almost like you were talking about getting bad info and not being able to trust results, right? So all year I have known that there may or may not be daily crows stealing my friggin' duck eggs, right? Yeah, so we haven't got shit for eggs this year, and I have new birds, and I'm like, why aren't we getting at least 2 dozen a day? This is bullshit. We were getting 10. Yeah, so my neighbor in the spring saw a big ass fucking crow in the duck pen on the thing, and the netting I have over the top is disintegrated over the last 2 years, so it's not keeping anything out anymore, which for the last 8 years that has not been a problem, right? Until this last season, basically. So there were some holes last year, but it wasn't a big problem. So anyway, the last 2 weeks have been getting up super early for me. So like butt crack of dawn earlier. And for me, that's like 7 a.m.
Super early. I've been trying to get up. I've been trying to join the
7, 8 in the morning. For me, that's early. Usually, because usually I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning working. So if I sleep till 10, that's normal, you know. But I've been getting up at like 7, 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And just getting shit done around the house before anybody else wakes up and doing that dad thing, right? So what I noticed, so I get up, I'm like half blind when I get up, and I had to just take a leak, and I'm like stumble into the bathroom, and on the way to the bathroom, there's the back door, and you see the ducks. And every single day, there's been 2 big-ass crows just fucking my eggs up. I'm like, what's going on? They get them in their beak. They get big-ass duck eggs in their beak, and they fly away with them. It's crazy. Yeah.
Dude, that's
I know.
Cool. Crows are really smart too. So that's like,
well,
yeah. So
here's the
you
problem.
build a
In the
scarecrow,
spring,
or what's the
I
game?
was witnessing crows attacking hawks, right? And I was like, how badass is that? And hawks are a problem for me because they pull the heads off my quail sometimes through the fence. So I started feeding crows, trying to befriend them, thinking that they would always attack. And now they steal my eggs. So this is what I get. No good deed goes unpunished. So one of my...
You know what? I didn't know. Crow. Oh, keep going, then I'll tell you my random story about crows. It's Johnson.
I have to replace the covering on the duck pen, but I don't have this stuff that I used before. Because before I got, for free, this giant sheet of mesh that was like 50 weight fishing line or something. It was huge, right? And it was a backdrop from a hockey goal in a hockey rink, right? And I just put it over the whole duck overnight pen that's like 24 by 16. I just draped it over the whole thing, ran like ropes under it with eye hooks and just tightened them up, and I had to replace those every couple of years, and stapled it to the sides, and I was good, right? Now it finally died because of the snow. So I have this whole thing going on where I'm like running pressure treated 2x4s from the shed that is in the center to the fence posts that are 4x4s with like joist hangers and all this shit. And I'm going to run chicken wire over the top. But then, of course, you run into something you want to do, right? Then I go, oh, over on this side, it's only 5 feet from the shed to the fence. I'm like, I should cover this with like plastic instead of mesh. And then I got to go buy those wavy plastic panels and all this shit. So it's like I created a bigger project for myself as I was going. But anyway, that's what I've been dealing with, was that kind of stuff, and like lawn cleanup and just like what a mess. There's still a
Yeah, I've been waiting on the first frost before because I need to clear out my beds. But it's like, well, I mean, I can still go back there and get some food. I might as well wait for the first frost.
Years ago, I built this terraced 3-tier, like huge flower bed in the front. And as you approach my property on the road, you see it first, right? It's kind of nice. It's been buried under microgreens soil just from this business, like bringing home dirt and just dumping it anywhere I can. And my boat was in front of it, all this stuff. So I put up one of those, just like a carport, basically, like the same idea with the tarp style, right? But with no sides. It's 10 by 20. I got off Amazon for like $280. And I put my boat under that so I can stop spending like 6 weeks a year trying to resurrect my boat in the spring. So that'll be nice. But anyway, I've done all this shit. But the crow thing is a big problem. And now I'm wondering, like, I need to get this thing covered, but now the weather sucks here. So it's going to be like it's going to be like a week from today I'm going to get this done when it stops raining out finally. And I said to Jenny, I go, I don't know if I'm going to be pissed off or happy the day after I get the thing covered if there's like 38 duck eggs in there, right? Instead of 2.
Yeah, I it just stopped raining here. So today was like the first time it quit raining, and then the sun came out. But we had like a wind chill today of like 40 degrees.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it's that cold there yet.
A couple days ago. It's like super rain, and it's like 50-mile-an-hour gusts today.
Oh yeah, so we went. Yeah, so that was like Sunday.
That makes sense.
That was shitty Sunday. Yeah, we went and got. Because the weather goes from west to east, which is weird. Since the planet rotates from east to west.
That's right, man.
Must be because the Earth's flat, right?
Whatever.
No, I'm just teasing. I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never been to space, so I can't really say one thing or another. Uh, so I had issues with crows mainly just because they were annoying. And apparently, like, if you try to provoke the crows or you yell at them or something just to like scare them off, more will come and they will just
No
keep doing the
shit.
same thing to drive you insane. Like they're smart animals like that, and it's I mean, and I guess
It's
when
called a
when a
murder.
group of them
Yeah.
are together, I think they call them a murder, don't they? Yeah, it's a murder of crows. So you're dealing with just a small murderer. It's just two,
is that called like
and a
a
huge crow. Well,
manslaughter
crows
of
are pretty.
crows? That's pretty good.
I don't know. Maybe
That
it
was bad.
is.
That was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah. So so what's the
No,
plan? So are you going to
I'm just
build a
covering the pen and
scarecrow,
moving
or
on
they're
because
pretty
like
much?
I don't try to. I don't know. I feel like I don't think
I don't
so.
think they
I think
work,
it's
do they? The
bullshit.
scarecrows? I
And
think it's
like,
just like a no.
yeah,
Yeah, I think just
legally,
cover
I'm
the
supposed to have
ducks.
that pen covered. Not that I
Uh,
give a shit, but you're supposed to have your poultry in this town fully enclosed, top, sides, and bottom. Like, it's fucking insane. Um, yeah. Yeah, I had a whole.
yeah,
That's a
'cause that's
whole
good for
different story. I
animals.
went to town hall to argue against that when they passed that, and I actually won a little. Um, they wanted to ban all livestock and poultry in the town, and a few of us yelling and screaming and arguing, and you know actually presenting facts instead of just yeah. No, it was like
Yeah,
the town council.
was it the
Like
health
one
department?
asshole was mad because he had a neighbor with a
It's
rooster, and he went instead of being a normal person and going up the street and talking to his neighbor, he called the animal control people, and then that just became the government in my town deciding they were going to take on this cause, right? And like it was dumb. But the problem with my town too is it's an old farm town, and it's all been like the big farms have all been broken up, and except for one, and like there's people here with like half an acre and a horse, and it's fucking retarded. So they banned that shit. They said basically anything with a hoof or whatever, any livestock that falls under the state definition of livestock. So that's not birds and not rabbits and stuff. It's like goats and pigs and horses and cows, right? Anything like that has to have 3 acres. So, okay, I wasn't getting them anyway, but
huh,
and I think it's a shitty idea to have a horse
yeah,
on a half acre anyway. You know, like
yeah.
yeah,
No, horses are pasture
yeah,
burners. You
yeah.
could probably
You
manage
can
a
permaculture
cow,
style manage
but that'd still be
one
put.
cow, I think, on half an acre, but it's got to be difficult. I'm not interested in the government outlawing that shit, but they started at no fucking animals at all, right? And then I taught them about stuff. Little, you know, I wasn't nice about it though.
Nice
But
job.
anyway, yeah,
Well, no,
yeah,
but at least you went and stood up for it. I mean, that's the thing is, like people
yeah,
are like, well, the government's gonna do what
yeah.
it's gonna do.
I'm
Well,
thinking
yeah,
about
if you
running
fucking
for
let
town
them. I
council
mean,
in this town.
like, you the people.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be hard. You'd have to, if I
yeah.
ran, I'd have to run as a Democrat here. And I don't think, and that's a pretty, I mean, you could get away with a Republican. The Republican Party seems to be pretty wide open right now, but the Democrats are pretty
Yeah.
controlled by some rich people.
Well, we're off the rails here. So,
But
all right, what minute?
new topic of
Let
the
me tell
week.
you
We
my
gotta
mold
hit this. We
situation.
gotta hit this, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh yeah, shit.
I've had an ongoing problem in this room for the whole time I've been here. And in 2019, I want to say, maybe it was 2020 even. It could have been January 2020. I found like so what would happen every year is like it'd start to get cold out October or so, and the heat would kick on here. My HVAC system in the roof, the ceiling here, whatever, my rooftop unit would kick on, and it's sucking air out of the hallway behind my unit, right? And blowing it in, you know, whatever. And every year in October, I would have this issue where I would just start having crops die, and it'd be everything, and I'd be running through that list of stuff we talked about, you know, like seed, soil, temperature, humidity, like cleaning, fucking trays, all this stuff, just procedure. And I could never nail it down. And then, like, I think it was 2019, January 2019. I went into the back hallway and I pulled ceiling tiles down, and the whole fucking top above the ceiling tiles, the drop ceiling, has this old school foam insulation on the walls because it's a big concrete building, and it has a paper face, and it was 100% like this color behind me with mold. Yeah,
we actually
so
I can't see that. Oh yeah, the green.
Yeah, that's all I wear is green. It was sucking the mold off the wall and blowing it into my room, right? So I cleaned the shit out of it. I went nuts. I cleaned it with bleach, then I cleaned it with food grade peroxide. I got rid of it, right? And then I literally like mounted a box fan in the ceiling back there, like covertly, and I just blow air up there all the time, and it's never been a problem again. Okay, so I thought I had won and everything was fine. So I'm moving on and whatever, and I'm still getting some problems, but it's not as bad, you know? And it hasn't been as bad since. But what I've come to the conclusion with is this, because now it's been about, almost 2 years since that time, and I've had off and on problems, okay?
Yeah.
And what I've figured out over about 3 times now of trial and error is when I turn the rooftop unit on, I get the mold, right? I get crop failure. It's fucking terrible. And I think there's mold in the vents, in the ducts. And that's what I think.
I would say so. I had issues. So a lot of those old buildings that are all concrete,
that's why
which is great,
that's literally why they did it, because the old man that built this in the 40s, he was a kid and there was like a house fire. And he's like, I'm never building anything out of wood.
Yeah. So I would always get sinus infections as a kid, and it would always be it would always be at my schools, and my school nurse was like, I think it's something to do with the ventilation, and I did have to have some surgery, like these things called enlarged turbinates, which are like what controls the humidity you breathe, of the air you breathe. And so I had some like laser surgery, which I also had some deviated septum, so it straightened out my septums as well. And so now what happens is every time like somebody gets sick, or like I've never had strep throat or anything like that, it's just a sinus infection, which is just weird. But so I'm very familiar with moldy ventilation, and I think a lot of that happens, and I don't think people realize how shitty their ventilation systems are.
It doesn't go away unless I do something about it, obviously. Like, and I don't know what, I've never hired, I feel like those fucking companies that come out are a scam. So I haven't hired them yet. And these things are ancient too. So I just have a window air conditioner and 2 wall mounted 1500 watt space heaters that I run. And now with the heat, with all these LEDs, I don't like, the last 2 nights have been chilly, and I get the temperature alert on my phone saying that the grow room's at 63 or whatever. And I just fucking turn some lights on early and the room heats up. So right now in winter, I'm not worried about it, but I need to, I don't know, like, but the point is I've gone through all these problems trying to pinpoint what the problem is, right? All these things, all these factors. And finally, I actually have figured it out, which is cool, because I think that might provide hope for some people out there that are watching this going, I can't get to the fucking bottom of this. So it's got to be, you just got to go down your list. And I think that the best thing to do is just to take notes, actually, which I never do. But every time you start having a mold issue, start recording what's going on and try to go backwards maybe a week and try to remember what maybe changed and write it down. Because in a year, right, for me, if I had just always written this down, by year 3, I would have went, fuck, this always happens in October. There must be something about the heat, So I never did that. So I didn't, it was just like, we would have a mold issue and I'd go, what's going on? And I'd like run around like a lunatic trying to figure it out. And I wasn't organized enough to actually, keep the notes and all that stuff. But I think you got to kind of keep notes when you have the problem. Maybe go backwards in time, 10 days or so, try to remember everything you can. And they just keep like a notebook, like just fucking write mold on the front of the notebook and leave it in your grow room or something. Right. And like, I don't know, it's gotta be, you gotta do something like that, I think. And I'm going to start doing that because you don't like, I've solved this problem. That's great. But there's going to be another one. There'll be another problem. Right. Yeah.
It's going to keep coming. So, I think that's good. So, do we want to cover the new topic for the week? I mean,
think that was it.
we're at an hour and 3 minutes, or do we want to wait till? I thought the new topic
I
was
didn't
the
bring that up yet.
glyphosate.
No, well, yeah, I figured the meat of the show here was going to be mold. And I think we've beaten that to death for now.
Yes.
So here we go. Yeah, I think that. So I did want to kind of bring up in the news, maybe do a new. Oh, that's supposed to say news topic. That's why I'm confused. There we go. It's supposed to say news.
Yeah,
right,
news topic of the week. There you go.
I figured it might be a good idea to bring some news up in these shows just to kind of keep things up. Because I started thinking back to when the shutdowns first started. And if we had been doing this show, there would have been a shitload of information that people could have used as far as grants and things like that go. So maybe if we start covering some news, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a headline here. Bam. Herbicide supplies or lack of are hot topics. So really what this is I was listening to another show the other day, and it's a show we both listen to in the morning. So ITM. And they covered this. ITM. And it made me start thinking. I was driving, surprise, and it made me start thinking about, okay, I think as a microgreens grower or a small-scale urban farmer that is Drew's phrase, soil-grown, chemical-free, right? And I am as well. So
yeah.
I think that when we hear shit about glyphosate or soybean crops or whatever, we just go, nah, doesn't affect me. Who cares? But I think that's wrong. That's the wrong way to think about it. I think we need to kind of keep our finger on the pulse of all these commercial ag things because they do affect us. Like, first of all, I grow ducks, chickens, and quail, right, for eggs. And a glyphosate shortage is going to, even if I'm using super organic, crazy feed, it doesn't matter because if there's a glyphosate shortage, and this will be, I think, 4 years in a row, they've had a major problem with grain crops, cereal grain crops. 1 year was like flooding, 1 year was drought, last year was Rona, and this year, I said it. And this year, is a glyphosate shortage, which all of them are pretty much grown with glyphosate, right? Which is Roundup, in case anybody doesn't know. They're blaming it on the hurricane, which seems like bullshit to me, but I think it was something like 80% comes from China, and we know that China is doing some weird stuff. Basically, China is not running their factories because they want the air to be clean for the Olympics or something. So in the end, it's like it's going to affect us as microgreens growers and as small-scale farmers because my feed costs are already up 50% since December. This is going to have a trickle-down effect, and it's going to affect even my actually, I do use a commercial feed, so it's just a no-soy feed because going organic is like would kill my the money I already lose would go way up. So yeah, it's almost GMO free. So hard. It gets so expensive to go there. So basically, my feed is mostly canola, and then my quail feed is pretty much just a standard bullshit feed because good luck getting 28% for a decent cost, right? So my feed cost is going to go up. But let's bring this back to microgreens. We buy peas, we buy sweet corn, right? We buy, I think that
seeds.
It's just
seed costs might go up. Even if
trickle down.
Even if we do get organic seeds, but like it's it's already been. We've already had issues with seed. So I mean, like we've talked about this. Like I can't find good tendril seed anymore. So I just quit growing them, and it's like
I'm getting
speckled pea. It is
of pea tendrils tomorrow.
So
it's coming tomorrow.
That's what you said. You're getting from Canada
in the rain. Yeah, I got a test bag. It's actually
good.
right here.
Maybe
I got a test of that lot. You got to do this. You got to call them and you got to say, look, I want to order a lot of this stuff. Can you send me a bag of test? And they'll just mail you this like 1 poundish for free. And then you just test it out. And actually, it was great. It performed awesome. So I was pretty excited about it. Yeah, it was better than the stuff I already had.
That's it.
Yep, I love them.
You got this from Mums?
I would say Kitazawa is my favorite company, and then Mums is probably second.
I like True and Kitazawa.
Yeah,
I like the Mormons.
I love how we have we have Japanese people, Canadian people, Mormons.
Yeah. I like the Japanese and the Mormons. I do a lot of
Yeah, I was
business.
gonna say,
I
what's
don't use
Johnny's?
Johnny's or
What are
High
they then?
Mowing or
Like they're
any of
just
that.
like what are they, Irish or something? Yeah,
They're
I use them a
employee owned
little. I use them a little,
supposedly.
but they're
Who
expensive. But
knows?
they're
They're employee
reliable.
owned.
Their seeds are always really good.
Swain. Yeah, I think Swain uses Johnny's High Mowing. I
Yeah,
think he pins them against each other. He doesn't use. So everybody has their own sources they use. Yeah, I think it. I was thinking like, oh, who cares? It's not going to affect me. But then it's like, but it sucks because people forget about all the
yep,
farmers in India
yep.
that committed suicide and all that stuff. Because Bayer/Monsanto, when you become a monopoly, this is what you can do. And I think it's just the state of affairs, which is why
Yeah,
we became
100%. And
small
the other
scale
thing that it's
farmers.
going to affect is
So
meat, your beef cost, like your groceries are going to go up, and this is going to be overall inflation. And
unless we
yeah,
just continue to
yeah,
subsidize
but
and
there'll
print
still
more
probably
money
be
and
some
just
inflation.
inflate it
We've
more.
already seen inflation in beef prices and whatnot, and I think that that's going
I
to.
think
I mean, I've run into this problem with inflation right now because I can't raise my prices more.
shouldn't, what I mean shouldn't corn finished and grain finished beef cost more than
Yeah,
grass finished
it
anyway?
definitely should, but
Like based
it
on the amount of
doesn't
inputs?
because the grass fed comes from like a small
Because
guy
it doesn't
that
get
needs to
subsidized.
act. Then it doesn't get subsidized.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's also the subsidies, right? So the smaller guys don't subsidize it, but they have to compete. Like, so it's more expensive for a small farmer to do grain fed or corn fed,
yeah,
just because of costs, like just costs. If you're doing grass fed, it takes longer to finish. But I mean, okay, the cow
yeah.
just
I mean, they
mows your
they
lawnmower.
run into
You know what I
problems up
mean? It's
here where
not
I
big
get
of a
mine
deal.
because I get it up in northern Vermont, and obviously it gets wicked cold. It already started snowing there a little bit, right? So they have to buy hay. Yeah,
Hay costs. Actually, I need to talk. I need to call Zach. I actually do need to get another one processed,
yeah.
so he doesn't have to take it through
Yep.
the winter. I
I
should call him. I need to
I
actually
bought.
get that sorted out.
Obviously, we've all bought meat at the store, but like I bought a fully 100% grass fed cow. I don't know, like 5 years ago, and I didn't like it. Like I like meat. I'm a meat eater pretty much primarily, and it just was like a little too gnarly for me. I eat all the fat. Like I'm the guy that like if you're sitting next to me in a restaurant and we both have a ribeye and you cut your fat off, I'm like, give me that, So, like the fat on the grass fed cow was just a little much for me. And then are you there? Are you good? I think your picture froze. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm
So
good.
oh, there you go. So
Oh,
the fat was a little too gnarly for me, but I just got one that's grass, pastured. Let me put it this way: the way farmers raise cows since grain was available, that were normal farmers. That's how I look at it and how I describe it. Like you're basically getting a cow from the 50s when you buy a cow from a farmer that has pasture, but just feeds some feed anyway, right? So he gives them free choice grain, and they're out on grass all the time. And but what you get is kind of the best of both worlds, I think, flavor wise. That's what I like. But yeah, what do you got going on? Are you all grass
yeah.
fed?
Well, yeah, my stuff's all grass fed. I need to actually sort that cow out because I forgot. Like Zach's gonna need to. I mean, I already paid him for pasture
Yeah.
rental, but he'll need some money for wintering it, and he's probably ready for slaughter. Man, when you don't have a vehicle and you still need to go to jail and stuff like that, certain
Yeah.
things you just don't sort out. So I need to talk to him and get it sorted out. But it's already the 26th of October, and it's like, he's
Yeah.
probably gonna have to
Yeah.
get some hay for
And
these
he's not ready
cows.
it's not ready
So
to
I should
process yet.
probably call him.
Oh.
No, it's ready. I mean, I don't have butcher dates. I got to see if he has any more butcher dates. I had it for July, but I didn't have a vehicle and I don't have a trailer. And the plan was to get another truck and a trailer, and then just other stuff happened, man. So it's just like I got to focus on the business.
Yeah. I've stopped taking shit like that on until I
Anyway,
have the infrastructure. I've learned this year we tried to hatch and sell quail in the spring, and it was pretty successful financially, but like it was a shit mess. Like, because I had like 12 different cages with quail, and it's like August and it's hot and it smells like the drip pans got to get dropped, or the dropping pans got to get emptied every day, or they start to grow maggots. It's fucking disgusting. And then that's 12 waters and 12 feeders. And I just said to her, I was like, we're not doing this anymore until I build another aviary that we can separate in half, and we can have the basic aviary that we already have can just be the right ratio of males to females for breeding and the right birds. And then I'll have a bachelor pad separated in the other aviary, and then the front half would be just the chicks we're going to sell that are out of the brooder, right? And once I get that done, I actually made... I sold like $1,000 worth of quail chicks in 2 months. And we're talking just shitty little, like...
Did you give him all that Spearco podcast? It's like 4 hours long where he
you mean
talks
Brad?
about how he does quail.
Or is it-
No, no, not Brad.
did he?
Spearco did one on his own, and it was like back in 2016 because he was doing quail. But yeah, Davies does quail too. But I don't.
He was on Jack's
Davies
show.
doesn't have a podcast, does he?
Yeah, that's what like
Oh,
if
he
you want
talks
to know
about
how to raise quail,
that
there's
makes sense.
two resources. Go to Katernik's Corner on YouTube, or go to Survival Podcast and just search Moon Valley Prepper. And his episode is like a fucking how-to.
Yeah.
And he actually had a book, and I bought it. It was like an ebook or something. I don't know if it's still available or not, but it was cheap. It was like $5, so why not just support him? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, just put a link and say, hey, get this book if you want to learn how.
Let's make the word of the day.
Yeah, so...
what do you got? I did, but
you seem like you really knew what you wanted to say. I was going to say...
Prepper, but is that too much? I know it's 2 words. So.
That's not a word.
Yeah.
Moon Valley Prepper, yeah. I would say the word of the day is...
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mold.
Yeah, definitely
Definitely
put
of the
mold
show
at the end of your statement if you watch the whole show. And we will include...
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. So put... Want
to do crows?
Yeah, Moon Valley Prepper. In
crows. All right.
Crows, that's way better.
It's the whole fucking show is mold. Yeah, so use
gross,
it. So in
crows
your
are
comment,
cool.
throw in the word crows, and we'll know that you watched the whole show for us. And we will, as you saw, we will present your question like this next week. It'll be fantastic. Yeah, good stuff. I don't know, man. So that's the word of the week. I'm going to put it in here, crows, so we don't forget. Crows.
Cool.
What do you got going on? What do you got coming up, man? What are your goals for the week?
That's it. My goals for the week are to we should have painting done. Then I gotta adjust to the schedule for the cool weather. So I didn't plant a lot of stuff because it's like, we got to get stuff moved over, but we don't necessarily have a place to put it yet. So we just planted pea today. So get the room ready. We're gonna probably do a good mopping of the farm in there. And then just get the grow room set back up, get stuff replanted so we can get stuff under the lights. I'm going out of town this weekend for my buddy's wedding. And then I'll be back. So it should be good. That's it, man. Just going to keep grinding, once I get stuff that's ready, just get it harvested, get it sold. Get some money going in the bank account, man. So I just got to get on my hustle.
I just found that paint for the mold. Sorry, I was listening, but it was called I thought it was called Activa.
Oh, nice.
But they don't have it at Home Depot anymore. It was like it's not. Yeah, it does.
That's like an act.
It's a photocatalytic paint. So when it gets hit with UV light, it sanitizes itself. It was interesting. I painted my grow room with it. I don't know if it really did anything, but I needed to paint anyway, so I just got a couple gallons of this shit. It was a little pricey. I want to say it was like $50 or something. But
oh shit! Yeah, I'm just gonna
I actually
primer,
went to Depot
and then maybe later we'll paint it.
Mold killing paint, or mold killing paint, and there's a Kills mold killing primer. Okay, and then there's
that's what I bought.
Oh, here you go, Zinsser Perma White Mold and mildew proof interior paint. That's cool. I don't know if I can bring this over to the.
How much is
Can
that?
you see that? I don't. Oh, I don't.
You don't have your shared screen turned on.
Oh.
No. I haven't been able to see it like since I went to the
Turn it back on.
bathroom.
I'm sorry. We're almost done anyway. Yeah, so
It's all good. Hey, let's wrap it up.
What am I doing this week? I don't know. I'm just. Yeah, I got.
You're
so it's
gonna
gonna
be
rain all
working
week, so I have
crazy,
indoor
man,
stuff to
still.
do. But what I got to get going on the microgreens front is I got to like that Boston account I had that was getting a shitload. As with any time you get a new account that was using a produce company, almost every time, in my opinion, they use less. Yeah,
It's a lot
so,
less. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he told me
Yeah,
like
because your stuff's better.
6 pounds of peas and like 5 pounds of cilantro or something. He's getting like half, you know, or something. Maybe he's getting 5 pounds of peas instead of 6, but he's only getting like maybe 3 pounds of cilantro. So I've got massively huge cilantro out there right now. I've got to retune. I've got to look at my sales. The good news is we've been killing our sales goal the last like 9 weeks, so I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, we shoot for 1,500 in greens alone, and we've been doing like 16 to 17, and we shoot for an overall number of 2,000, and we've been beating that by 150, $200 too. So it's pretty nice.
That's good. Yeah, I just need to make sure I consistently have crops because I can hit those numbers. It's just getting, you know, my goals, just getting that production, being back to hand holding, being back to the industry. Yeah, that's what we've been working on, building a schedule, building a routine.
It's got to be like just no, it's got to be no excuse type of shit. That's what I had to do to myself. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead and wrap it up, man.
Oh yeah. So anyways, guys, so type in crows, make comments, please ask us more questions, like, share, favorite the video. Anything helps the algorithm. Check out the podcast too. If you don't want to watch the video, there's the audio version of the podcast too at sampler.com.
On
That's all I got, John.
Tomorrow. If you have a libertarian bend in you and you want to check that out, watch that and see if I can entertain. Yeah, man.
I think.
Thanks. See you later.
All right.